Hey, it's Mark from Contentlect. I wanted to record a quick video on this new AI writing software called Content at Scale and just share with you my experience so far. I'm a early user or a beta user, and it is fairly extraordinary how the technology for AI writing has moved along. So I've been following the space very closely for about 2 years now. Obviously, because we're a content writing agency, AI software, AI writing software has the potential to fully disrupt our industry. And so I wanted to, I've kept my finger on the dial. And when this new software came out, I was very keen to test it out. We've tested Jasper, or what used to be called, I think, Jarvis, which is a solid AI writing assistant. But it certainly doesn't allow you to do what Content at Scale can do, which is essentially you give a keyword to the software and it gives you back a fully written 1,000, 2,000 word article, which is just, it's insane, really. Um, so, without further ado, let's jump in and I'll show you what Content at Scale looks like from the back end. Now, the tool's still in beta, I believe, and I think you can kind of see that because it does feel a little bit clunky to move about. I still don't really know how to get where I want to get to. It's not very kind of clean and easy to understand the dashboard. But we're not going to judge them on that. We're going to judge them on the content quality. So essentially, what you do is you set up projects. I set up a project here, so you can set up a new project if you wanted to, and you give it a project name, a URL if it's one of your websites. This context is really important to describe what the website's about. And then there's certain quotas on how much content you can produce depending on your plan. We'll get into pricing in a second. So, and then from here, again, not super clear how you can change things here, but like you can manage the settings for how the content output appears. So some of the key things and amazing things that Content at Scale does is it provides key takeaways in the article. So it like pulls out like interesting insights and puts them into a key takeaway box, and you can drive the formatting of that here. It also creates little tweets, so it like grabs some like insight from an article and turns it into one of these like clickable tweets. And again, you can play with some of the formatting on that. It also gives you a table of contents, and you can play around with the settings for that. And then finally, you are able to add a call to action in the intro and in the conclusion. And if you don't, it will kind of add its own small call to action there. So that's very impressive. I'll show you what that looks like once we generate an article here. So let me close that. You can also connect to your WordPress platform here. So this is now obviously taking me into Contentlect, and then you can connect it up. And I haven't done this, so I can't actually show you how that works. But apparently, you can go from article to published on your website with a click of a button, which again is just unbelievable. Obviously, if you're using a page builder like Elementor or something like that, then obviously I don't think that's going to work. But if it's just your standard WordPress editor, then clearly that's a very quick use of time. Okay, so let's actually go look at an article. So all you do when you want to add content is you just click Add Content. And over here you give a keyword. And I just did one for content repurposing. So we were writing an article on our website on content repurposing. And I was like, okay, well, let's see if the AI does something better. So you give it a keyword, and definitely I highly recommend that you give it some context. So this is a new feature that they've added, and I think they're adding new features all the time, but this particular feature really helps provide context. And so here, like, I've done like the research on content repurposing, and I know that the search intent around this is like, what is it? And give me some examples. So you could say like, talk about what it is and provide me with some examples. So that's what you'd put in here, and then you'd create the content. I'm not going to do that because I've already done it. And here's the article here. Okay, so let's go check this article out. Now, I haven't done anything to this, right? This is 100% the software has done all of this. So first of all, it's written what I think is a pretty good title up here, 5 ways to repurpose your content. So it has taken my idea that I need examples or I need different ways of doing it. It's given us a URL slug, which I suppose if you were connecting into your WordPress website, then your URL slug is really done and it's really tied to the keyword. And the meta description reads really well. If you're looking for ways to get more engagement out of your content, look no further than repurposing. Here are 5 easy ways to do it. Pretty good. Okay. It's now also given us some information that you get in your standard content optimization tools like Surfer and Phrase, where it's telling us, okay, we've scraped the SERP and we need to write something roughly in that ballpark, but we've actually written something that's 1,700 words, so they've gone over the top. And a number of paragraphs and headings and so on. It's also provided, like Surfer does, some natural language processing stuff. So although Surfer's got this nice traffic light system scoring mechanism, this is actually pretty much Surfer built in here. I don't know how good it is and whether it's as good as Surfer, but very impressive that they're building something that is a combination of a content optimization tool and a content writing tool, software. Okay, and then as you can see, here's the article. It's put in a table of contents, all with anchor text jump links. Really kind of, the header structure here looks really good. What is it? Why you should do it? How you can do it? When you should do it? Tips and FAQs with some nice FAQs there and a conclusion. And you can see they've got these tweet boxes, so you can just click to tweet that. It's just unbelievable. It's written everything. These key takeaway boxes, as I said, you could drive the formatting on that at the global level for the settings. I mean, it's very impressive. So that's a quick glance of the content. So there's your 1,800 words, and literally does this in like 5 minutes. It's written an article. Okay. The question is does it read any well? So I'm just going to read some of this because I think the intro actually reads really well. If you're anything like me, you're always looking for ways to get more out of your content, more engagement, more shares, more traffic, the list goes on. And one of the best ways to do that is by repurposing your content. I mean, it's very good, very good. What is it? So if you're a content creator, chances are you've come across the term content repurposing. But what is content repurposing? In a nutshell, content repurposing is the process of taking existing content and adapting it for use in different formats. For example, you could take a long blog post and turn it into a video, an infographic, and even a podcast episode. Content repurposing is a great way to get more mileage out of your existing content and can also help you reach new audiences. I don't think a human's going to write a much better description of what it is. So that is really extraordinary, really, really extraordinary. If you're not sure where to start, here's some ideas, and let's give you 5 ideas. Content repurposing is a great way to get more bang for your content creation buck. I mean, very, very well written, quite human almost. Why you should do it? I'm not going to read all of this, obviously, but it sets out fairly clearly. Here are the 4 reasons. You'll reach a wider audience, you'll save time, you'll increase engagement, you'll get more mileage out of your content. And then summarize that into a key takeaway. How can you repurpose your content? And here's some ideas. Okay, and it's just provided a list of 10 ideas, but they're all valid ideas, but not much meat on the bone there, but it's still very good. When should you do it? When you want to reach a new audience, when you want to refresh your content, when you want to promote a new product or service, when you want to increase. All good ideas here. Tips for successful content repurposing. Start with great content, keep your audience in mind, be creative, approachable. Okay, fine. Look, to me, this is seemingly very good. Like, I haven't read it in detail, but the intro looked good, the definition looked good, the structure looks good. It looks solid, very impressive. Like miles ahead of tools like Jarvis and so on, and miles ahead of your kind of average writer, to be honest. What I feel this is missing though is depth, particularly around the examples. It just doesn't feel like it's either shown me really good examples, just kind of giving me a list of a few ideas over here and here. It hasn't gone into detail. How do I actually do that? And what are real examples of that? So if I was to plug some holes in it, that would be the only thing. But I mean, straight out the gates, something in 5 minutes that's this long is just truly extraordinary, and quite worrying, to be honest. Yeah, so I mean that is the tool, Content at Scale, in a nutshell. That's one article. It's done a good job there. We've done a few more. Let's maybe have a look at one more just so you can see. The dangers of a breach of fiduciary duty. So I'm guessing the keyword is breach of fiduciary duty. Quite a difficult topic, this. You can imagine a writer, non-technical specialist, having to research that. It's not going to be easy. A breach of fiduciary duty can have serious consequences. Here's what you need to know about avoiding a potential breach. Not bad in terms of meta description. Fiduciary duty is the highest standard of care at either equity or law. Okay. A fiduciary, abbreviated to FID, is expected to be extremely loyal to the person to whom they owe this duty, the principal. Very well written. In a nutshell, breaching your fiduciary duties means that you have not acted in good faith and with loyalty towards your principal. The problem is that many people do not even know what a fiduciary duty is, let alone how easy it can be to breach one without meaning to. This blog post will explain everything you need to know about avoiding a potential breach. Fiduciaries are held accountable for any losses suffered by their principals as a result of their actions or inaction. Yes, very good. They can also be required to pay back any profits made from through the use. Look, I mean, I'm not going to read it all, but that reads very well. What is it? How can you prove a breach? How can you avoid? When should you seek legal advice? Wow. I mean, again, it just feels very good. Surprisingly good. I mean, so good that I'm like, is this rewriting other content? You know, if I ran this 1,000 times, would I get 1,000 good quality articles that are all unique and different to this? I don't know. I don't even know how the back end of this technology is working, to be honest. It apparently has a Copyscape or one of these plagiarism checking APIs, so that the content is apparently being checked by a plagiarism checker. Obviously, I haven't checked that myself. I haven't put it into a plagiarism checker. But, you know, again, on the surface, it looks exceptional. Okay, so that's Content at Scale. Just so you know the pricing for this. Well, how much does it actually cost? Well, it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. Let me try to find the pricing. It's not clear. Maybe they've closed their beta. They might have closed their beta. I mean, done for you services, content marketing playbook. I think they've closed their beta, unless you put in their details here and then you get to their sign up page. But I can tell you what it is roughly. They've got some detail down here. So pricing. So you're paying between 1 cent and 1.8 cents per word. So call it 1.5 cents per word, which is, you know, not far off what you would actually pay a writer. You can get a good writer for, you know, 3 to 4 cents. So it's not a million miles off the cost of a writer, but it's about 100 times faster than a writer, and potentially sometimes better. I mean, this content looks very good. They've got a service that allows one to also do, I think they call it done for you services. So they use the technology to write the article, and then they have an editor go through it. Where do I think, you know, we're going to use technology like this going forward, if it does prove to be as good as it looks so far, is I think you need an editor. So I just want to show you what we did. We took this content repurposing article that I just showed you, the one back here. we took it and we actually turned it into an article on our website. But I'll tell you what we did. We binned a lot of the information because I didn't look at it in detail. AB, one of our editors, looked at it, but his commentary on it was very good but quite repetitive, and a lot of felt just a lack of depth in places and not really addressing what we wanted, which is real examples. And this is where I think the AI software is always going to fall down, or certainly in the near to mid-term, it's going to struggle to do, which is making articles feel very valuable with and through its depth of insight, which goes straight to the point around Google's recent update around helpful content. So what we did is we just took the intro, which we thought was tight, short, on point. We took the content definition of what it is, which we also thought was fantastic. And then we wrote our own 5 ways, and we went into a lot more detail. So, they mentioned turn your blog post into a slide, but we actually turned this into something that's very real, very insightful. So, turn your epic long form blog post into easy to digest slides. I love what Rand Fishkin from SparkToro did, screenshot of it. So we're working in this particular article, we're working alongside the content, but it feels a lot more real, a lot more human, a lot more insightful, much more depth, going into real detail on these examples. So that's how we used the technology for this article. Probably wrote only 20% of the article for us, the intro, the definition, and we also used it, I think, down for the FAQs. Is it good for SEO and so on? So a little bit down here. So I think it's got huge potential. So far, I think Content at Scale, no one has come in close to doing something as impressive as what they're doing. So I do recommend checking it out. You're looking at, I think the bottom sign up price is $500 a month, and you get 20 posts for that, which is fairly reasonable for what you're getting. But I do think you're going to need an editor still to go through it, so you've got to factor in that cost. All right, that's Content at Scale. Thanks, guys. Cheers.